This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to AMPM, or Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today's Monday, February the 6th, 2023. So glad you could come along with us today. Coming up a little later in the program, we're going to hear from my trip in Brazil as I talk with Iowa Farmer Mike Oberbroeckling in Clayton County. As we traveled through Brazil, we get his impressions of what we saw. We'll also look at your ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and we're turning to Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what did we see in those grain markets today?
Well, it's interesting because initially it seemed like most of the pressure came on with the shooting down of that balloon over the U.S., kind of the anticipation was maybe some tightening, or I shouldn't say tightening, but some tension, further tension between the U.S. and China. Of course, that's, again, you have to take that with a grain of salt because that's not really that much of an issue because there's always tension there. So it was just something that the traders could latch onto a little bit. But when we looked at the nitty gritty of the market, more of the fundamentals, daily exports were reported. And 111,800 metric ton of corn was sold to Japan on the overnight, 200,000 corn to Mexico. And that was good because those were both corn. And those were some nice sales. And export inspections were also released. And the corn export inspections were 18.9 million bushels. It was down from last week, down 2.5 million bushels. And the problem with the corn is that the exports are 33% below a year ago. That's keeping the lid on that market. Now, it was nice that the corn actually came back at the end of the day after spending most of the day lower. It come back to close just slightly higher or close by, unchanged to slightly higher. On the bean side, we had 67.2 million bushels in inspections, down 3.7 million bushels from the previous week. But the nice thing about soybeans is 1% above the level of a year ago. So they continue to do well. The inspections are running ahead of what is needed, and they're performing fairly well, even though we're looking at Brazil's crop coming on board. Now we need to do well now because once they start selling some of those beans and start coming into the marketplace, typically our export sales and inspections will slow up. Now, wheat was at 19.7 million bushels, up 3.3 million bushels from last week. And that's doing pretty well, too. It's only down 2% from a year ago. But wheat again, kind of held a little better most of the day than corn and soybeans. Now, soybeans closed with some double-digit losses in the early contracts. So that stage was set, I think, mostly at the beginning of trading. Now, there's some hot and dry weather in Argentina. And over the next 14 days, it starts to become a little bit of a broken record there. We don't know exactly. They trimmed some of that crop. We don't know exactly. The hybrids, they're better than they used to be. But there is some hot and dry weather. So that will impact the overall production out of there. Now, Brazilians' harvest of soybeans is 7.8% complete. This compares to 17% a year ago. Now, it did jump from 4.4% to 7.8%, but they're running behind last year. Some weather issues slowing things up. Again, not a big deal because we usually see some of that stuff every year where there's a little bit of delays or something else. Now, Brazil exported 6.34 million tons of corn so far in January. So, or I should say in January, we're in February right now. So they exported 6.34 million tons of corn during the month of January. So we are seeing some decent movement of crop from the U.S., but not up to where we should be, is primarily on the corn. And that continues to cause a concern. It is going to limit the upside as far as what we can really be looking for potential, unless we probably get kind of a weather market. But anyway, today began with a focus on the balloon, and it moved toward more of the daily fundamentals or the daily choppy trade that we've become accustomed to.
All right, moving over to that livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs perform today?
Well, cattle actually held pretty well. They gained a little bit more, not big gains, but when we saw cash trade last week, cattle in the north traded $2 higher on Friday first. Southern cattle traded, but was very light. So packers are coming into this week really short bought. Now that's going to give the feedlots the wherewithal or the confidence to hold again. They know the packers have to come and get it. So that's setting the stage. So instead of being a lot more cautious today to start the week, we did see the higher prices. There's an anticipation there. We see some higher new contract highs. So there's a lot of support underneath that market. Now, boxed beef at midday, we saw both Choice and Select higher. Choice was up $1.62, Select up $1.70. On Friday, those were lower, but the potential for them being higher, maybe we're going to stop that trend a little bit that we've been seeing of going lower. But that's still up in the area because we have been trending lower so far this year's, and it's going to be up to that demand situation. But the bigger issue that we have to really look at is, packers are just getting themselves backed up against the wall, basically, and feedlots are trying to capitalize on that. Now, on the hog side, they really fell apart today. I mean, we saw April go down to bypass the previous low, held support for a while, went down through it. Some of the later contracts are basically at support. They traded what was happening on Friday. We had lower cash Friday. We had lower cutouts Friday. It's always a delayed reaction to that trade. That's what they were trading today. Cash on the daily direct morning report was down 84 cents, so nothing big there. But the big thing, if it can hold, we did see cutouts at midday up $8.87. Now, there was a huge increase in the bellies. $34.18 was an increase in bellies. So if we can maintain the strong cutout price through the close, that might set up for cash being a little bit higher tomorrow, and maybe we're going to start to see a little bit of a support developing off of the cutouts.
All right. Well, Robin, of course, great analysis as always. If folks want to get in touch with agmarket.net to talk some of their strategies, how do they do that?
Well, they can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to agmarket.net. The phone number's on the home page. They can give a call and somebody will be happy to answer their questions.
All right, Robin, we thank you so much for your insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you, and it's great to be part of your show.
And that was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's run down those closing numbers for you, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. March corn was up 1.5 at $6.79 even. December new crop was up 1 3/4 at $5.97 3/4. March beans down 10 3/4 at $15.21 1/4. November new crop down 2.5 at $13.67 1/4. Soy meal down $6.20 at $4.7450. Soy oil 12 cents higher at $59.50. Chicago wheat down 6 1/4 at $7.62 even. Minneapolis down 4 at $9.10 3/4. Kansas wheat up 2 at $8.68 1/4. May oats down 1/2 at $3.74 1/2. February live cattle 55 cents higher at $160.82. March feeders up $1.60 at $187.70. Lean hogs for February were 2 cents higher at $75.05. Pork cutout 7 cents higher at $82.57. And Class 3 milk was 9 cents lower at $17.83. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we talk with Clayton County farmer Mike Oberbroeckling, and that will be coming to you from Brazil. This is AMPM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, while I was in Brazil last month, I had the chance to travel with some farmers from Iowa. One of them was Mike Oberbroeckling. He is from Clayton County in the northeast corner of the state. We talked about his impressions of what we saw on this trip, looking at agriculture in Minas Gerais and in Mato Grosso. Coming on this tour, has it been a real eye-opener for you to see how things are done here in Brazil?
Yes, these guys down here farm big time. We just came from a John Deere dealership, and they cover an area with multiple locations, obviously, but they cover an area probably half the size of Texas. And everything these guys do down there is, I mean, you don't see any 20 or 25 foot bean heads. They're all mostly 40s, 45s. We did see a couple 30 footers yesterday. And then at 22, 24, 26 row, 20-inch corn heads, non-folding.
What's something else that's really surprised you, and maybe it was something that you didn't expect when you came here?
Well, we got to go through a coffee coffee fields here a while ago. And that was very interesting to see how they harvest that and produce it as far as fertility goes, and just that they plant them from seedlings, and once you plant an area to coffee, you are dedicated probably 10 or 15 years out.
Maybe it makes you think twice when you have that morning cup now, doesn't it?
Oh, that's for sure.
Now, when we're here at the soybean fields, I mean, there is nothing to see multiple combines and tractors and the planters going by. That's something we're not used to seeing in Iowa at all.
No, usually you see one, maybe two, you know, in the same field. There's a fair amount of that, but no, you don't see half a dozen or more. And the beans here, I noticed, we've been into them, and it seems to me a lot of them are about 15, 16% moisture. And but they've got an excellent yield here. I mean, the plants are just loaded with pods.
Everything that we were told that Brazil's crop looks good,
it does.
It does, yeah.
Does, yes.
But you know, but also the farmers. Talk about just meeting the farmers of these operations, whether they're the big ones or the small ones. They just seem to have a different mindset a little bit than we do.
Well, a lot of these guys come in here initially back when this was all timber, you know, forest, and this has all been cleared. And so they had to stick their neck out, you know, long term, and is this going to work? You know, once we spend the money to clear all this land and plant it. The first thing they do, a lot of them is, upon clearing, is they will put a lot of lime on. This soil tests very low in pH, like 4 something. And then they will raise rice the first year because it doesn't take as much lime per acre before they go to soybeans. They don't just start automatically with soybeans. That kind of surprised me.
How about going to a farm today where we saw a guy who not only has sugarcane and corn and beans, but is also building his own ethanol plant on his property?
Yes. This gentleman is a little bit older than I am, but he was one of the first pioneers, if you will, that came here. And he could see the potential, and he was talking about probably marketing his ethanol right straight to the gas stations. And he was talking, he's going to be he's going to be using both corn and sugarcane to produce ethanol, because the sugarcane plants, once the sugarcane is done, they're done for the year, whereas he can keep right on going.
It's really interesting that, you know, in this climate they can obviously plant all year round, but yet they're still mindful of what's going to be the best at what time, and they have to rotate accordingly. But they are still very much on a time crunch where we think, oh, we've got to race the snow, and they've got to race because they're running out of time to get their seeds in the ground before the rain stops.
Yes, some of those fields that we saw, the dry fertilizer spreaders, basically, let's say half hour behind the combine, and then the corn planters probably half hour behind them. You know, they're on the ball.
Yeah. What's something that, you know, because we keep getting told in America, we keep getting that impression that Brazil's only goal is to supplant the United States as a top ag producer, and that they're our enemy kind of thing, but I don't think that's what I've seen here at all.
No. I think instead of, yes, they are our strong competitors, but I think we need to be of the mindset that it takes both the U.S. and Brazil to feed the world or provide ethanol to, and soybeans to especially China as an example. We can't do it alone. They can't do it alone. Should be a teamwork endeavor.
Anything that Iowa farmers need to know about if they get the opportunity, or even if they don't, what's something that they really should know about this Brazil operation?
Well, the size of these farms is just astounding. I mean, this gentleman here is talking like 48,000 acres, And I'm not saying that, you have to be that large to make a go of it. But I would think that the technology that they're using rivals what we're doing. They've got GPS out here, and they're on RTK, and they still have the same issues that we have as far as what's it going to take to produce a profitable crop, and as far as inputs and expense goes.
We also hear a lot about, they're going to cut down the rainforest, and they're not thinking about the environment. I don't know about you, but I've seen it looks like they're really mindful of what the future holds for this environment here.
Yes. The thing down here is the closer you farm to the Amazon, the more that you have to leave in reserve. The farther you are from the Amazon River, you are allowed to crop more, like 60% quite a ways from the Amazon, whereas close by you're only allowed to crop 20% in your area.
And that again was Clayton County, Iowa farmer Mike Oberbroeckling here on AMPM. Let's run down that ag weather outlook. All right, now the sun is shining, though we are supposed to see a little bit of sprinkle action come in later on tonight. Could see a short move of some rain, and then could see the sun return, but temperatures being a little cooler. Let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. Well, as we said, the nice weather is continuing on today, actually a little bit warmer. We're seeing variable cloud cover across the state, mostly sunny here. There's a chance of some flurries up in the northwest, and we're seeing highs today in the mid-30s to the mid-50s. Now tonight, rain will start to become more prevalent across the state, and we'll see gradual clearing, and it'll be blustery, with a low in the low 20s to the low 30s, and then tomorrow mostly sunny skies, but it'll be a little bit cooler. We'll see highs tomorrow in the low 30s to the mid-40s. Looking at that affiliate weather map for you for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly sunny and 33, Shenandoah mostly sunny 46, Des Moines mostly sunny 42, Waterloo mostly sunny with blustery conditions in 36, Albia sunny and 43, Clinton will see clouds clearing off and a high of 40 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe when you can get notified every time we put up a new video product. You can also check out our free twice daily market podcast through Amazon, Google, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.